Hello and welcome to the session 3 of the presentations about building homes of hope and wholeness. On this session, we're going to talk about parenting. Just a little reminder that this presentation is provided to you by the Children's and Family Ministries of the Florida Conference. We talk now about parenting, and let's go ahead and start by this Bible verse that we can find in Deuteronomy chapter 6 verses 5 and 9. And it says, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Tie them as symbols of your hands and bind them on your foreheads. Write them on the door frames of your houses and on your gates." For this presentation, we need to be sure that we as parents needs to be the ultimate educators for our kids. Your own fire needs to be burning. Your action must match your words. Your attitude toward God, the Bible, the church will fool the quench of fire in your child. They're just capturing, they are just getting all the information from you exactly. I would like to start with this research that was conducted in 2012, that in a national survey of the states of family in America, the parents reportedly believing that raising children today is more complicated than it used to be. Do you agree that there are things that today parents must contend with that the previous generation didn't? Think on that. Complete the charts as you reflect on this research finding. Top issues facing parents in previous generation were like finances. Mom used to stay at home while the father was the one who be working all day. College loans. Well, I think this is not only from previous generations, but also an actual uh, issue in today's generations too. Lack of good education. Obviously, back in time, there was not too much research about parenting, about mental health issues that may face the kids today, like autism, ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And so there was not actually a professional preparation that even the doctors, in order to deal with all the issues that on those times. And the parents did the best they could with all the tools that they had at that time. Not enough good working opportunities. Again, only one person working, not enough good work opportunities because of that too. And one of the top issues facing parents today are fewer two-parent family. What that means, that there are a lot of single families, like mom raising two kids by herself, or a father raising their own kids. A lot of divorce, a lot of not the complete family. That doesn't mean that a family is not complete because mom is a single mom and is raising their kids. They are a family anyway, but there are an issue with that today. Drugs, opioids. Everybody knows that we are right now in a drug epidemic moment in our history, where kids are constantly being influenced by the drugs and any type of substances. Obviously, social media creates a lot of addiction in kids, and parents are facing that today because the social media is being parenting, as being providing the job that as a parent we are supposed to provide for our kids. So those kids, instead of getting the influence from us as parents, they're getting that influence from the social media. That includes Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and some of those YouTube channels, YouTubers, influencers, those type of things that are influencing our kids today. Cultural messages, again, dealing with the social media. Premarital sex is the norm. People don't respect the boundaries of marriage and families and relationships. This is something that have to be a lot of relationship with God in order to understand that the respect for boundaries, for moments, for stages in relationships is what will make us a better family and a better parents today. Less support from the extended family. Back in the previous generation, they used to have mom, dad, grandpa, uncle, both living closer, but because of the mobility of society today, extended family is sometimes far away. Before baby, this is when the parenting starts, before having a baby. Not when you know that you're gonna have a baby, even before you know that you're gonna have a baby, you need to start preparing yourself for somebody that will show up into your life at some point. For that, you need to be spiritually prepared. Having a relationship with God is what will make you a better father. Remember, we lead by our own example. Financially prepared, very, very important. Need to be financially prepared to provide for that innocent soul that come up to your life. Your knowledge in child development. No child comes to you with a manual of instructions. This is not possible. Every child is totally different, but there are some ways that you can actually prepare yourself in the knowledge of child development. Knowing and reading books about psychology, reading books about how the child growing, the human growth and development works in children. There are one of the most important child development stages are the Freud, the Piaget, and the Erickson. And the three psychologists, they talk about ways in which a child develops physically, psychologically, and socially. Obviously, physically, how the child is growing up, how the child is learning how to dress appropriately, hygiene, taking care of themselves, how they are growing, their voice is changing. Psychologically, obviously, how do they react to emotions, how do they learn how to control themselves, behavior, discipline. This is more the psychological stages in the child, how a child can start development. And the other is the socially, how the child basically interact with others in their surroundings. Sibling preparation. If you already had a child, part of the parenting is to prepare the other kid for the child that will come up. Being united in parenting, most of the issues that family faces nowadays are that a parent says one thing and the other parent says another thing, and the child either had two ways, either learns how to respect one and disobey the other one, and it's gonna be like that. So parenting needs to be united in one. Another thing is about marriage. While children bring great joy to many couples, it may be shocking to some learn that they also add a lot of stress to both the marriage and the family. Research indicates that 67% of the couples see their marital satisfaction plummet with the birth of a child. Post-baby discontent is very common. Many people think it's inevitable and even acceptable, and it's not acceptable. Being a father is one thing, being a good husband or a good wife is another thing. You still need to take care for your partner, your relationship with the other people. Discipline versus punishment. This is one of the things that parents facing today, how to discipline their child. What is punishment? Punishment is a penalty for doing something wrong and involves the experience of pain. Discipline, on the other hand, is a teaching process that leads to a changed behavior and a desired outcome. Sometimes we try to get a discipline through punishment. Parenting for discipleship, which is our main goal as Christian, means that we can teach, guide our children to grow closer to be more like Jesus every day. We can't do that by constantly punishing our kids, looking back at their failures, reminding them of their shortcomings, and focusing on misbehavior or mistakes. Discipleship parenting means that we exercise discipline in our own life first, while attempting to teach our kids and our children to do the same. We do that by staying calm, firmly addressing misbehavior, teaching our children a better way to handle it next time, and showing grace and mercy to our kids, because this is what Jesus do with us, by moving on and letting past failures go. Ellen White said, "Our work for Christ is to begin with the family, in the home." And then she said also, "There is not missionary field more important than this." We sometimes focusing on church, on preaching the gospel to all the world and all the countries forever come. And we forgot that the first church is our own house, is our own place. A disciple-making parent do this. Jesus gathered his disciples around him. Think about how many time or how much time do you spend gathering around children around you? Think twice. Jesus spent time with them. How much time we spend time with our own kids? Our own kids spend more time, probably sometimes spending more time in the TV than with a relationship with parents, because parents have too many things to do. Jesus taught them and trained them. How many time or how much time do we spend teaching our kids or training them to do like a hobby, to do their beds, teaching how to cook, teaching something to fix in the house? How much time do we spend doing that with our own kids? Remember, we put our kids in the school, in the Christian school sometimes, to get the Christian education. We put them in extracurricular activities, piano lessons, sports teams, so they can spend the whole day doing something productive for their life. And this is nice. This is very, very, very good. Fine. But the ultimate trainers, tutors, and educators for our kids is the parent, is you, is me. And Jesus sent them out. What does that mean? We need to send our kids out too. To do what? To help a person, to help an older person clean their house, to do voluntary work, to visit the sick people at the home facilities, to do something for our church, to participate in church cleaning. This is about sending them out. A disciple child becomes a disciple maker. The Jesus method of equipping his disciples and then sending them out is a powerful one for us. As parents, it is only in fulfilling this step as we see faith being passed on from generation to generation. A disciple child becomes a disciple maker. Like I said, teaching our kids the joy of serving is one way to disciple them. And this is an activity that you can try. The services become much more rewarding and exciting when we utilize the gift of the child. It is important to understand that each child has unique gift, and a key to helping them grow spiritually is to match that gift with always to serve. So Think of 5 different gifts the children may have. Then think on ways they can use it to serve other people. Gift can be playing an instrument, drawing, coloring, cooking, baking, organizing, cleaning, gardening. Some kids have very, very good talents on organizing. Some kids like to music, drawing, gardening, planting. Some of the ways they can help serving other people is by playing special music at church, make cards for the neighbors, write them a little drawing on them, bake cookies for the local police department, help another person clean their house, plant flowers at a nursing home. So then, how do you demonstrate your love for God? How does it fulfill the first verse that we were reading? What you will plan to do today to demonstrate this love? How important is to you that your children grow up the love of God and appreciate the role He plays in their life and in your own life too, and how you can help teach them about the love of God. Remember, in relationship, parenting, this is the foundation for our family. Nobody have the absolute truth on parenting. Like I said, child doesn't come up with a manual of instructions. Remember, you lead by the example. There was a phrase that was called, teaching somebody something is very simple. To educate somebody, only one is a living gospel. A living gospel is the ultimate education for a kid. Teaching them something is not the same as educated them. Being discipleship parent does not mean just teaching them. It means to educate them. And we educated a disciple by being a living gospel. And that's what Jesus was in our lives. Okay, so thank you very much for this presentation.